Yes.
Which is not helpful with those children, for sure.
That sounds nice. All right, ready? Kick the show off.
I know.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the May edition of the South Range Board of Education meeting. At 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Mr. Nero, if you can call the roll, please.
Tyler Bates. Here. Jack Dawson. Here. Elizabeth Johnson.
Here.
Terry Lally.
Here.
Brian Bagwell.
Here. Prior to the pledge, we're just going to observe a moment of silence, if you would, please. Okay, thank you. Stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, like usual, the first item is the agenda approval. Were there any changes, questions? If there was not, we just need a motion to approve the agenda for this evening. Jack moves, Tyler seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is approved. So first, we will be welcoming anybody for public participation for agenda items. We ask speakers to be limited to 2 minutes. This is for agenda items. There's no
I mean,
taking-
I was here in opposition of a group that I thought was coming, so this is gonna be an easy meeting.
Okay.
Just carry on.
All right, on to Dr. Spolnick for communications.
Yeah, first I would like to thank Dr. Tara and the nutrition group. If you want to kind of explain what you allocated to the board.
Oh, of course, certainly. So this is one of our a la carte offerings. We're really excited about it. So we now have a drink line through nutrition group called Oasis, as you see there is our branding. And what we're offering is a snack that is Smart Snack approved, so it doesn't have too high of a percentage of saturated fat nor added sugars. And so we have half a serving of the boba pearls in there, which are very popular with students nowadays. And then we have 1 pump of a syrup in there. It is a blue raspberry flavored syrup. And those are using natural alternative sweeteners. And so we hope that you enjoy that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I would like Mr. Matus to update the board on some exciting things happening in the elementary world.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to recognize our PTO. Mrs. Taylor's a big part of our PTO, and the last couple months we've been working on a lot of discussion. Our auction was very, very successful this year, and wanting to do something big for the elementary that would impact the students, the staff, for a very long time. And you know, the building, we're now about 13 years old, and looking at something that the teachers and the students use each and every day. Talking with Dean, the projectors, the smart boards are all getting very old, very expensive to replace. And if you put one of the new flat panels that you've seen in here up against the smart boards that are currently in the room, it's like taking a TV with rabbit ears and putting a new flat panel TV up against it. There's no comparison. So with a lot of discussion and looking at our best options, we were able to use some of the PTO funds to go ahead and replace each and every flat panel, each and every smart board in all of our classrooms, not just general ed, but special ed tutor rooms throughout the entire elementary. So between last month and this month, the project was completely approved and should be completed for the start of this upcoming school year. And it doesn't deplete PTO's budget going into the next school year. And so that's just a huge thank you, just not only to the PTO, but our entire community, because that's money just raised from this last auction, but all the fundraisers they do throughout the year. And we've always talked about, you know, how important our PTO is, but it's the whole community that supports the PTO and raises that money to go right back to our staff, our students, and this just shows, you know, it's going to affect, you know, kids, students, staff for many, many years. So just a huge thank you to the community and to our PTO.
Next, I'd like to celebrate the positive impact students have had on other students. From February until now, our district leadership team challenged each of the buildings to determine ways for kids to spread positive messages to each other. In the elementary school, this goal led to students creating over 850 paper rings where it was a peer affirmation project. And it's grown. It's really a great job by the teachers and Mr. Matus and his team over there. In the middle school, many great things are happening in the middle school, but I'd like to really identify the STEM activities and the older kids going down to the elementary kids and doing reading activities and STEM projects with the little kids. Finally, in the high school, the goal led to a lot more students going on field trips with servitude leadership, making a positive impact in the community. So it was a great district leadership team goal that led to strategies by each building. Speaking of spirit of collaboration, I'm proud to say that our team has developed 2 integral plans to continue to grow kids for next year. Special thank you to Jacqueline DeCivio, Karen Knotts, Mrs. Pettit, ESE of Eastern Ohio. We have created a curriculum instruction plan for next year using current data and a lot of information to develop that plan. And we also created our district science of reading plan, which the board will approve tonight, because there is some money that the state of Ohio mandates we give out for teachers to get the science of reading training. Then I'd like to celebrate the growth on some preliminary Ohio State testing results we received. It's preliminary. We won't have the rest of the results until mid-June. But currently, right now, we saw some significant improvement, getting better every day, GBD. Special shout out, specifically the middle school group. We were very excited about some of the growth in all grade levels. I know Mr. Matus, I don't know if you can grow any higher in some of the grades. Some scores were literally, when I say off the charts, like 99%. So off the charts. So very excited about that. And I want to thank our district leadership team for meeting today. We had a meeting right before the board meeting to talk about strengths and opportunities already for next year, and what we want to do to continue to get better and analyze that data. Good luck to our spring sports that are, I think, canceled right now or delayed. We have a lot going on today that postponed and going into tomorrow with softball, track, and so forth. Math curriculum, I don't know, do you want to update anyone on the math or from last month? But basically, it's just wanted to review from last month. We are purchasing consumables, not a significant purchase, but a small portion, saving some dollars, but buying materials that the teachers had a lot of input on, because the state of Ohio is going to give us a list someday in the near future. We don't know when, but there's going to be a math list of approved curriculum that we have to purchase. So thank you to our math team, Mr. Matus, Sam Calicavacchio from the county for working with that. In the world of title, just a quick update, Mr. Matus and I met with Lily from the Department of Education, and she is hopeful that we will receive federal funding in the elementary school world. Steve and I have some next level work. We have a meeting June 20th to determine, she's actually going to log in the system with us and click the buttons in real time. So we should know more 100% whether we're going to get it or not get it June 20th. So it's more information of a waiting game. And lastly, just sharing a special shout out to our foundation, the South Range Foundation, for helping us with the KO Consulting firm. We couldn't do it without them, and some of the money that we're going after for technology, safety, security, curriculum updates, and so forth. They are going after 8 grants currently right now. So April and May, they're pursuing 8 different opportunities to help our district get better. Mario and I put in a grant for the Ohio Attorney General School Safety, and we did receive it. So we received $5,400 that we're putting for social emotional needs of students in K-8. And that's all I have.
Okay. Yeah, please let the PTO know we're very appreciative. You know, we're trying to find ways to be good stewards of the community's money that we've been blessed with, and it's just one way to help us, you know, provide good technology to students. So we really appreciate all their efforts.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the consent agenda. First item is the minutes from the April 17th board meetings. That, I don't think we need any changes, if anybody had anything. Then I can kick it over to Mr. Nero for the treasurer financial reports.
You're provided with the April financials, mostly we'll talk kind of about the forecast, so maybe go over the highlights now, or do you wait until later for the motion?
Just covered, yeah, just covered with the
Motion, okay. And then, do you have any questions on the financial reports that they could review?
Okay, then on to personnel.
Yeah, several personnel items. Motion to approve the following classified personnel for summer band camp help. And those 3 individuals are there working with a student that's in, that needs some support that's in band. Then Success by 6. Item D there, motion to approve the following staff member for Success by 6, which is with Mr. Matus in his building June 10th through the 28th. We have those teachers, we have a few aides, and Nurse Peterson. Next, item E, motion to approve the following certified personnel for a 1-year contract starting next school year. We should have approved this last month. It was left off by accident, but David Rock met the qualifications to be full-time teachers, so that we just accidentally left that off. Item F, motion to approve the following administrative personnel beginning with the 24-25 school year. Mrs. DeCivio, Director of Student Services, 3 years. Mrs. Hammond and Mr. Matus there with a number of days and effective dates. Item G, motion to approve the following non-administrative contracts for the 24-25 school year. And we have our occupational therapist and our assistant treasurer, accounts payable, and a length of contract there is identified. Next item, approve Deb Suffolk to be paid as a sub for 2 days. That was May 2nd and Friday, May 3rd, for helping with speech screening during kindergarten screening. Mr. Matus' building, they were able to get all those students in to get them ready for next year. Next, item I, motion to approve the following supplemental contracts. And we're still receiving some of these supplementals. I know Mrs. Pettit and I have had conversations, so there'll probably be more in June that are still kind of streaming in the office, but there's a whole list there. Item J, motion to approve the following extended supplemental contracts for next school year. And each of these supplementals and extended contracts are in our negotiated agreement, our current contract. Item K, motion to approve the following supplemental staff resignations. Mrs. Shane and Mrs. Carochi for cheering. And that's all I have.
Okay, were there any questions or concerns about the consent agenda items? If there was none, we just need a motion to approve those. Sorry, Liz? Elizabeth approves, and a second.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the consent agenda items are good to go. And Mario, the moment you've been waiting for.
Oh, yeah. So you get to provide with the forecasting assumptions. It's important to go through the assumptions because it dictates where the numbers are coming from. So I was just gonna, you have the assumptions there, I'm just gonna highlight some of the assumptions that are in there that are important. We did go through a reappraisal this past calendar year for tax year 2024. We put out there our effective millage drop from 19.97 to 16.91, essentially getting additional 3 mils of tax revenue. So we'll receive roughly half that this fiscal year, and the full, we'll realize the full amount next fiscal year, which ends June 30th. This tax year and fiscal years are different years. Stable valuation, historical increases were forecasted. So not like this big jump that we just did, but important years to pay attention to is the triennial update, which is 3 years from now, and then the reappraisal 6 years from now. So any big changes between those, and any laws that might get passed the state legislatures might have a material impact on that line. But as you look at the property tax line, most of it is looking at stable values from the previous years, not the big jump in some of these years. The next year was just the state funding, the unrestricted from the state budget. It's a 6-year phase-in for the fair school funding plan. We're in year 3, which is roughly a 50% phase-in. So they do your calculation, and we're roughly 90,000 above before. So we're seeing roughly a $45,000 increase in state funding this year. But with the increase in property values, which is a major impact on their state funding calculation, it's actually going to drop us below the 40, or below the guarantee starting next school year, because it looks at the last 3 years. So the 2023 will come into that calculation next year. The state put a calculator on the website, which I looked at and kind of confirmed that information. So that just puts us back on the guarantee, and that's what's forecasted forward. So any major change in the state budget, again, would have a material impact on that, depending on what happens. The other revenue line would be 1.06, which is all other revenue. With the interest rate market the last couple of years, we saw material increase the last couple of years. Fiscal year 22, we had probably received roughly 20 to 30,000 in interest. We're going to receive over 300,000 by the end of this fiscal year. So forecasting forward, as you see there, forecasting decrease is just eventually the Fed's decreasing the interest rates. But any drastic increase or decrease could have a material impact on the line as well. But forecast more stable, gradual decreases going forward instead of the sharp decreases or increases. So that's one thing to pay attention to. And then on the expenditure side, I just forecasted based on increases of 1.95%, if that's what's agreed to in the past. Obviously, we're currently in negotiations. I didn't deviate from what I forecasted previously with different numbers. And then on the insurance, I projected 12%. The last 3 years, our increases have been 12%, 12%, 14.6. So that's been forecasted forward as well, 12%. So I know we're doing what we can to help control those increases, but there's only so much we can do right at this point. And then the purchase service line also was 3.03 purchase service line as we moved to the COG this year for substitute teaching. So it's not us paying that salary. It'll be paid through the ESC, which we pay that invoice. So you'll see a decrease in salaries, but an increase in purchase service for that line item. And then also the ESC bill, as you know, that they presented in March, I believe. The costs have been roughly the same, approximately the same on the cost per day, but the number of days we needed over the last couple of years for our students have almost doubled. So that's why we saw that big jump in the ESC bill. So that's also forecasted forward. I didn't forecast a huge jump, but just maintaining the current levels where we're at with our students. So any major increase or decrease in the number of student needs could have a material impact on that line as well. So any questions on any of the other sections?
Thank you. I know it's a ton of work, and I appreciate the time you spent with me going over it, but I know you really have to look hard at a lot of different things and put forth the best guess. And like you like to tell me, it's a living document that changes, and you try to stay on top of it. You put a lot of effort into it. I appreciate it. All right, so we just need a motion to approve Mr. Nero's 5-year financial forecast. Tyler moves. Jack seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The nutrition group contract. Motion to approve and continue contract with the nutrition group for the 24-25 school year.
I'll
Elizabeth
second.
moves. Terry seconds. Jerry, anything you want to add to that statement before?
No, I just appreciate the collaborative spirit, with Caitlin going on leave, we were able to get Dr. Tara, and she is jumping right in, and the ladies are working extremely hard
They
and
are.
meeting students' needs. I know kids love their cafeteria, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that we had to go out for bid for the cafeteria contract every 5 years, so this would be the 3rd year of that. So we just have to approve the contract every year, but in a couple of years, we'll have to go out for bid again as well. So just wanna highlight that.
All in favor of the nutrition group contract?
Aye.
Opposed? And that carries. The access agreements for fiscal year 2025, motion to approve the agreements for application services and voice services for fiscal year 25. Jack moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. Anything to add to that?
That's just seeing a continued yearly contract with them, sir. I think the price running roughly the same, but just agreement that nothing else to continue.
All in favor of the access contract?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The Ohio Attorney General School Safety Grant. This is the safety grant that Mr. Nero and Dr. Zapolnik applied for, I believe, $5,475, call it.
I'll move.
Tyler moves.
That's good. I'll second.
Terry gets the second. Do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, so with this, we're gonna be working with mental health services, specifically in K-8. We are pursuing another grant to try to increase those numbers. As you know, we know it takes finding the antecedent and working with the students and the teachers to provide those supports. So very excited about this grant. We're looking at also some Title IV dollars as well, which is a safe schools money, which can be allocated for that. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of approving the grant?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. A transfer of funds from the termination benefits fund from the general fund for $55,000. That's just for,
Yeah, so a couple years ago, they created, just more for accounting purposes for like the forecast. So like when you have a year, if you have a lot of people retiring on, it helps control that fluctuation to get a better like clean picture. So it's just a matter of, it's on a different line, you can see that transfer out. So the cost is still there, it's just helping control the spikes in the forecast. So it's just more of an accounting thing.
motion to approve the transfer. Elizabeth moves. Tyler seconds. We'll go ahead and vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. And we will move to the superintendent's regular agenda. First item being the Business Advisory Council meeting minutes for April and May. Motion to approve those. Jack moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. Is there anything you want to note from the Advisory Council meeting?
Just the opportunities. The last one was at United Schools, where they are pursuing drones as well. So it's cool to see the careers that can be connected with drones. And also within the region, Youngstown State's purchasing a former airstrip where we can then possibly bus kids out to use the runway to fly the drones off and so forth. So really cool in the region, some of the opportunities for kids.
So the building is starting to be erected there. I don't know if you know that.
I did not know that, yeah.
I know the guy that donated that, or donated to YSU. Yeah, they are building a building for STEM programs,
Huh.
if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so all in favor of the approval of the Business Advisory Council meeting minutes? Opposed? That carries. Instructional cafeteria aid and responsibilities and benefits. Motion to approve, and Jared can elaborate after we approve the second. Tyler moves, and Jack second. I think Jack needs to.
Oh, sorry.
This motion will just approve the non-teaching employees' rights and benefits. The resolution aligns this portion with Ohio Revised Code. Mario and I met with almost every single one to explain what's going on and the rights, the responsibilities and the benefits, and answer any questions. So, productive conversation.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The Science of Reading Professional Development Plan. Elizabeth moves.
I'll second.
Terry seconds.
Yeah, this motion will approve the district's plan to provide that state-required literacy development. The state has never, as long as education's been around, there has never been this, to mandate very difficult brain science type of training for teachers, and that's K-12. And when I say it's brain science, it is very complex to teach reading. Reading is a science to teach. So this is, the General Assembly approved this, and we have till June of 25, where all teachers have to get, and counselors and administrators have the option, but it's required that if you're teaching students to get this training through Ohio. So the resolution is we are paying stipends, and there's various pathways, and the team knows, the details of it, but once they complete and turn into us, which we have to upload, then the Mario would pay out a stipend at a fixed number that was determined by the state as well. So because we're offering a stipend, much of the work has to be done outside of business hours, so it's not a conflict, like an ethics issue. And it's a lot of training for teachers. So we created a plan that there's a lot of time built in, but then we're gonna have debrief sessions so our teachers have a plan of support, because it is complex. And it's one thing to sit through a training, but there's another thing to ask questions of how to make this training relevant in the classroom. So throughout next year, the plan identifies debriefing sessions where teachers can come and ask questions and collaborate on what they've been learning. Yes?
So the state mandated this?
Yeah.
And they didn't associate any supplemental funding for it?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I didn't explain that. The stipends we give out, they will reimburse us.
Okay.
Correct.
Good question. Any others? Motion is, got a first and a second, and all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The board policy adoptions, motion, this is the second, we've had the second read and the policy adoption for the new replacement and revised policies. Any questions? Just need a motion to approve those.
I'll motion.
Elizabeth moves. I'm sorry, Terry. Check the wrong box too. Terry moves.
I'll second.
Jack seconds. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, you articulated, it's the second, I think this is the second month that we reviewed them.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. The school resource officer memorandum of understanding, a motion to approve with the South Bend Board of Education, the memorandum of understanding with the Beaver Township Board of Trustees and Beaver Police Department for the SRO services of the 24-25 school year. Tyler moves.
Second.
Elizabeth. I'll get it right.
So this is for our full-time officer Hassie, as well as our .5 person. Special shout out to Beaver Township and trustees and Chief Totillo. We've had a lot of conversations. They are providing us with a lot of services right now, as I also pursue a safety grant to try to get more additional SRO. So they are going above and beyond, and working for our kids in our community.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. And that wraps up our agenda items. So this would take us to public participation for non-agenda items. So anything on your mind, in 2 minutes. And all good? Okay. So we'll move on to the other matters. The next meeting will be Wednesday, June 19th. And we're going to propose a time change of 5 to allow for some events that are taking place later in the evening, so.
Yeah.
So we'll issue a meeting notice for that special meeting notice, giving the time change.
And that's also a federal holiday, Juneteenth. But we can still meet. We're allowed to work that day, but there's certain parameters where certain individuals are not allowed federally to work. So I just wanted to give a heads up that that is a national holiday, but we are permitted to still work that day. So we were planning on working, but we just wanted to put that out there just to inform the board if there were any issues or any of that.
Okay, I think we'll all be here.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah, I was gonna say that, this grant meeting, I was just, cause I know people with travel for vacation and stuff, I just need to make sure we have 4, is that be good for,
yeah.
so it's out at 5, I just figured we were gonna be real quick, most of it's just fiscal grant procedures.
Yeah, I know I'm out of town that week.
You're out of town, okay.
I think it was last year as well.
I guess another 4 would be good, I'll write it again next, as we get closer, but,
Yeah, I'll review it prior to, and then if I have any questions, I'll get with you.
yeah.
Okay, so that wraps up the other matters. At this time, I'd like to propose a motion to enter executive session under the ORC 121.22 for preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. Just a note, after, we're gonna go to executive, if this passes, we will come back, just close out the meeting, no further actions can be taken after that. So, you just need a motion for executive. Jack moves,
I'll second.
Terry seconds. Mr. Nero, if you call the roll, please.
Jack Dawson.
Here.
Terry Lau.
Here.
No, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Pat Williams.
Yes.
Dave Jones.
Yes.
Brian Backwell.
Yes. Okay, the board enters executive at 6:30.